I felt like saying before, bro. We should have started recording before when we were talking about.
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, we'll just keep talking then, man.
Yeah. Should we? Let's drop into the breath then.
Okay. Yes. Let's do that.
Let's just get fucking real.
Alrighty.
So we'll just take a moment, brothers, just to close down the eyes and just connect with your natural breath. And I'll guide you in a second, just as we recalibrate into this space, this beautiful basement we're in, this basement of magic. So we'll just start taking a few deeper breaths in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, out through the mouth, 2, 3, 4, in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, out through the mouth, 2, 3, 4. Just stay with that tempo. In 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4. And just while we're breathing together, syncing up our energy, just drop into why we're here, why we got out of bed this morning, why we got in the car to do our daily chores, who we were doing them for, what kind of energy we were doing them for, doing them with, and then what brought us all here together, these 5 amazing men. Just breathe into that for a moment, because that's the why. And that's what a man needs, is a strong why. And we go 2 more breaths. 1 more in. We'll hold at the top. Full breath in. Take a bit more. Just hold that. Hold that in your heart. And let it go. And that, my brothers, is why we're here. Presence. Presence among good men.
Fucking real. Nice. Thanks for that, brother.
Thank you, bro.
It's a good way, man. I like that. Well, let's start with that, boys? The why. Super important, man.
Always one. I was just testing 1, 2.
Fuck, every time, bro.
I had to get everyone laughing, man, just before we go into the why.
That's it.
The why. Yeah, man. You know, a lot about me, man, with my why and this podcast and now this charity I'm setting up with this starting line. You know, I found that with my why, it fucking helps me get through tough moments, addictions, fucking doing better things for myself. You know, I just find, and I sometimes wonder if I didn't have that why, what the fuck would I be doing? You know, so I think it's super important finding that why, man. I mean, I have a why also being a father and things like that, but I guess my why in this space, man, you know, this is it, and it really drives me and motivates me, man, meeting fucking awesome human beings that I bang on about all the time, bro. Like, you know, it's wicked, man. I'm super blessed to be in this position, and, you know, and I find that my why has led me to really good things.
And I think that's interesting because, you know, you can, as you were speaking, I was just thinking of previous version of myself, and you think, you know, even with gratitude and, you know, what's your why? What are you grateful for? And people can list off, you know, those usual things. Oh, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my kids. My why is for this, for my kids, for creating a better future, that sort of stuff. But if it's not actually connected to your heart and to your actual purpose, like Ryan said, what gets you up in the morning, then you're just saying the words. You know, so it's more of it's also about your connection to it. You know, it's not just thinking about it rationally and thinking this is my why. It's what do you feel your purpose is, you know, and that's what can really drive you then.
And how do you find your why, man? A lot of people, I guess, want that why, you know. And you know, I mean, we just spoke, like with me, it feels great to know what your why is, and you feel that why. But there's a lot of people out there that would be struggling with trying to find that why, you know, or wanting that why. What's your boys' thoughts about in terms of finding? I mean, look, in previous podcasts, and you know, we talk about a lot of the people that we've had on here talks about just being still and silent and patient with trying to find that why?
Yeah, well, you know, finding your why comes with trials and tribulations. There's no doubt about it that a why is not an easy journey. You know, it's not easy to find. You don't get it out of a cereal box. You don't get it from a fucking like year 12 graduation certificate. It's in here. And sometimes the bigger the why, the deeper you got to go. So like for me, I spent years quote unquote alone, you know, being the black sheep, being ridiculed, being told I'm too much, or, you know, I'm too sensitive, I'm too loving, I'm gay, I'm this, I'm that. Like I've had every accusation under the sun thrown at me as I was trying to find my why. And it was tough, you know, because a lot of that I did by myself. But it was when I found a good tribe of men that my why became real, because it was just up in here.
Yeah.
And then when I found these brothers in my life, you know, several years ago, it went from here into the heart and it connected. It was like, you know, connect the dots. And I was like, this is why I've been alone the whole time, because I wasn't in the right space to find my tribe. And then it was when I found my tribe, that why just went, and that's why I'm here. I'm here for us. I'm not here for me. I'm here for us. And I wear this shirt, Brotherhood Awakening, with pride that I've created something with other people that's for us. It's not just for me.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess, I mean, I relate to that as well. It's more than just yourself. It's really not me. You know, this is about a bigger picture. And again, man, community, man, and like the brotherhood, and fuck, you just can't do it any other way, really, I don't think.
We're not meant to do it any other way. We've been told for generations, men are meant to suck it up and, you know, bring home the bacon, and that's all you're meant to be. But we're not. We're meant to support one another, you know. Strong men supporting strong men creates stronger communities. And that's what's the real magic of this is strength in numbers.
Yep.
You know, men leading from the heart in collective spaces, and this wouldn't happen if we weren't all in our heart. If we were all here ego-driven, we wouldn't be sitting at this table together, you know? You know, you look at the caliber of men in this room and it's so high. It's because we lead from here.
Yeah, I like that, bro.
You know, for a portion of our time, we probably led from here, but our hearts brought us back into this space, and this space is brotherhood. It's community. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And I think that's
Well said, bro.
important, that connection, you know, going from the head to your heart. You know, that's real for my personal story. I can relate to that being alone for sure. You know, finding the massive community of brothers. I had a realisation, and I said this at one of the Ignite sessions, that there's friendship and then there's brotherhood. And I'd realised what the difference was, you know, that I'd had friends, male friends in the past, but still so lonely and by myself and not really feeling much support there. Because it was just a different thing, you know. So having that community, having the guys that, you know, I could ring any one of you even if we hadn't spoken for 6 months, and it's like, yep, I'm there for you.
For sure.
Or if you go to something, you go to a dip down at Scarborough, or you know, whatever, and you see someone that was at Brotherhood Awakening, you know, like I did on Sunday, and you haven't seen them since then, and it's just big hugs, how you doing, bro?
Electric energy.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got even was there a Brotherhood Awakening that with Cam's men's group? Like, I sort of just like, you know, we done the men's group on Friday just gone.
Yep.
And with Cam.
Hopkins. Yep.
It was fucking amazing, man. And well, I sort of just got thrown into that. I didn't really know what I was showing up for. I literally called. Text Cam on, must have been the Thursday, just going, mate, what's a good yoga class to go to for a beginner? Because when him and Stu were on here, I said to them, yeah, all right, I'll get into yoga. So I reached out and he goes, mate, I'm even better, we're doing a men's group tomorrow night, come along to that. Yeah. I was like, okay, sweet. Yeah. And, you know, you talk about a community of brothers. I mean, and then being vulnerable and open, and I you know, again, I didn't know what I was showing up for, and next minute we're throwing out there a very vulnerable, like what's going deep inside, what's going on, Dave, and being and totally open and transparent about what's happening with some of these personal things that might be going on in your life. And I was, just for those at home listening, they're going to be listening to this, I think I was about the 10th person around the circle. And at first I was thinking, this is going to be relatively easy. And then once I started hearing all these stories, it got to me and I'm just like, holy fuck, man, it's powerful and then, yeah. And I think even just that alone, when we talk about brotherhood and community, man, I just think even just little things like that are fucking amazing, man. Are just fucking real, and I guess, and I guess this is like the job I'm trying to do here, man, is trying to normalise those things.
Yeah.
Among us.
100%.
Because when we talk about community, I know for me, when I started entering into this community, it can be overwhelming. And also, because you're letting your guard down. You're entering into new space and being vulnerable. There's a lot of things that sort of you ease into, I guess.
But I think when you finally find your why and connect it to your heart centre, like these beautiful brothers shared, and like I used to be so, my why's this, my why's that, and they were just so surface, they were just so shallow. And then I just completed an 8-week mentorship as us leaders in Amend, and for the first time in my life, I could connect my breath and my why to my heart centre. Now that why actually means something. My determination, my drive, my focus, my clarity is just, bulletproof, man. It's just so in line with everything that I'm doing. So once you connect to that, and then another thing you boys touched on, and I wanted just to drop in on, was when I went through my massive depression for most of my life, I was always alone, and I thought that. And for years, when you're thinking you're alone and there's something wrong with you, and like I'm doing this all alone, and I had acquaintances, friends, but then when I actually found the brotherhood, the community, then things changed. And then once you sit down in them beautiful men's circles like Cam's was Friday night, fuck, that was fire, boys. I've been to a lot of circles, retreats, workshops. That was up there, bro. It was fire. And once then you start sharing them beautiful, vulnerable, powerful stories of as an individual's experience, then your own go, fuck, Dave went through the same kind of thing, different kind of routes and whatnot, but same kind of, scenarios and ending. And then, Ty's been through that too. Fuck, I wasn't alone. And then once you navigate and realise that I'm not alone through this journey, like what Rai said, like once like a warrior, like you go into war, by yourself you can't win a war, but together as a brothers we can take over the world. Yeah. And that's what this movement is about in Perth. And we're years behind the East Coast, and it's only just scratching the surface here, boys. And what we're doing as a group, as a collective, and as individuals in our own little space and facilitators, mate, she's about to blow up, boys. Yeah. She's about to blow up, so hold on for the ride, man. She's about to get
how fucking exciting, man. Like, I'm just, like, I can't wait, man. And, to see what this is going to be in another 5 years' time, man. It's going to be electric. Even, we talk about that men's group with Cam. That was just his first one.
Yes.
But, like, there were so many different guys from, Rai with his thing, you with your thing,
Benny as well, and,
Ryan, myself, a few of the other brothers. Like, it was fucking powerful. And like every time me and Ty meet, or we go down to the Ignite on Sunday, every time I walk up, I don't even message you boys to say, hey, you going to the camp thing, or you going to Ignite? Next minute I walk in, hey, it was just even that first time I come to Ignite, it's just like we're all there, we're attracted to the energy, boys, and together we're making a stance, man. We're making a change.
And again, just for those who are going to be listening to this and haven't done any of this sort of work, man, it's totally comfortable coming into these. I can understand the anxiety you get, especially it being your first time, and this was first for me as well. And I knew a lot of guys there, so I felt quite comfortable really quickly. But by the time everyone has sort of spoken, there wasn't one person that I couldn't relate to or what they're going through, man. By the time it come to me, I'm just like, I can understand that. I'm going through a little bit of that. I went through that a couple of years ago. And,
the uncomfortableness is also part of you shedding those old stories and the conditioning that we've had. So, we were just talking about it on the drive here, that before I went to the first International Men's Day that Men's Talk organised last year, and then this year I realised that it had only been 12 months that I'd, really stepped into this work, probably less. because I went to that first International Men's Day absolutely shitting myself, and there were probably another few months of like easing into it. But it's that letting go of those old stories. So for me, you know, I was so used to being in competition with guys, you know, or feeling that competition from them unhealthy way, you know, all that bravado and, oh, what do you do, you know, that I just didn't trust anyone for quite a while. And then talking about being vulnerable, like once you feel that safety, you know, I remember I was sort of starting to get deep into the work on myself, and I went to a catch-up that Ryan was running down at Scarborough, and I got there and I felt okay, you know, but I'd had a pretty dark week, and it was probably only about 6 or 7 guys that had turned up there, maybe 8. And as we got in the circle and stood there, I wasn't even first to share, but just standing in that circle, and we started taking some breaths and stuff, and I just started crying because during that week I'd been so low and dark that I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I was going to do. But it was like on the border of feeling like, fuck, it'd just be easier if I wasn't here, you know? And I stood in that circle and felt the energy of those brothers. And when it got round to me, I just fucking started crying and said, look, I've been close to fucking ending it this week because it's just, it's been too much.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
And to not get any, oh no, you'll be all right, mate, you know, like to not get any of that shit, just guys listening, standing there. Again, it comes down to the energy of men coming into a space who are connected and respectful, you know. And then Ryan was leading it, so everyone, you know, they listened to me, and then everyone lifted me up in the circle. And again, at first I was like, what the fuck's going on? You know, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But Ryan was just in my ear and he was like, just relax, we've got you, brother. And I actually just let my body fully relax and felt every man holding me up. And that's stayed with me from then, you know, like that distrust was
It's
gone.
crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the power of the witness. You know, is being witnessed in your shit in front of other brothers. You finally realise that it's okay. That's all we're doing. It's not rocket science. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just making sure you know that you're okay and you're not alone. And that comes in different ways, shapes and forms, you know. But like Ty said, when it's with another bunch of men, that we've been doing this for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, right? And we're only just sort of like recalibrating our systems to make sure like we know that's okay. And we're doing it more and more often in bigger and bigger groups, different ways, shapes and forms. And that's what's going to change the world, is bringing men back together again.
Yeah.
Because we've been plagued for years to fight one another, to kill one another, to steal from one another. But we all came from the same place and we all end up in the same place. So what's the go, you know?
I've got something I want to add to that, man, only because I've been going through, especially today, man, I like how all the men are coming in together and doing what we're doing. I mean, even in my short time and being this, you know, area of mental health, I've noticed such a massive movement. Like it's there, man. It's about to erupt, like you were saying before. I've also because I've been a little bit with the podcast and the starting line. I've been a little bit I've just naturally been leaning towards men's mental health, and I think it's obviously been a male and what I've gone through, and a lot of my experiences are about myself and what I share and whatnot. So it sort of naturally just navigates down that path. But I'm really being opened up to how many females, particularly single mums, that are doing it tough, man. You know,
I thought you meant they were
Not on
drawn
Tinder,
to you,
man.
Yvonne, or like potential power.
Let's not go there.
Come here, you vulnerable, powerful, sexy man.
I've got some stories.
Come
Let's get
talk to me.
fucking real. But I've been. Yeah, I mean, look, because I come from quite a big family, so like even like you know, among my sisters and aunties, but even among the community and friends of friends and things like that. And I've been trying to work it out myself, like what's going on, you know, like with all of this. And one, I feel like some of these girls sort of feel safe to talk about it, or in my environment to sort of talk about it, which is great. And then it just sort of makes me think, you know, what are we doing as males to be making these women? I feel like we need to sort of get around them a little bit more, some way or another, you know. So what's your thoughts about that? I know we're doing like a lot of men's mental health.
Well, that's the purpose, though, because if we're changing men and how men think and how men feel and how they connect with themselves, then that ripples out to the community. So it changes, you know, like I've got sons. I've got an older son. I've got a son who's 6. I've got a stepson who's 12. You know, the 12-year-old and 6-year-old, they're now part of the work that I'm doing on myself. And the men's circle, you know, my 6-year-old said the other day, what's a men's circle? Because it's up on my calendar, you know. And so you just explain it, well, it's this. Cool. You know, so he's going to now grow up knowing what's a men's circle and that I run it, and, you know, that these men come round and he's like, oh, who's Ryan? Who's Javier? You know, it's like, oh, they're brothers from, you know, down here, and I've known them through this. And he's like, oh, cool. So he's your friend? Yeah. Because you don't have any brothers. And I'm like, well, I do. I've got hundreds of them. Yeah, for sure. But you know what I mean? Like, so by us being allowed to focus on ourselves and connect with each other and do this work, and, you know, some men are going to step into leadership roles in that process as well. But that's changing. That's going to for sure ripple out. It's going to change communities, and it's going to allow women to feel safer, and it's going to start changing, you know, not in a short time, but it's going to happen.
It's going to show that the women that we can actually listen and communicate. You know, like I put my hand up, I'm terrible. I can communicate with you, beautiful brothers. Can I communicate like this to my missus? No, she probably wishes she does, and I know you'll be listening, babe. But when you do, I'm working on it. We're getting there.
It's time.
But no, it is time, and that's part of my 8-week mentorship. But, you know, like what Ty was saying, for us to be able to be heard by women or understand women, they talk to each other. They have PNC meetings, they have women's groups. They've been doing this for decades and generations. They come together, they talk. We don't. We got taught to suppress our feelings. Men don't, and especially the men that I grew up with, you don't have emotions. You don't have feelings. You're a man, right? Yeah. Well, fucking harden up, you know. Go and get on the bags, go and have a drink. That's what we done to talk. Now we're doing this to be able to become better communicators and listeners within our group. Then they can sense that. Energy's powerful, energy's there. They see that when we go home and communicate and listen better to them. We become not so masculine but feminine, and they ooze it, you know. It's moisture.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and that's what happens, you know.
And that's what we're all after, I guess, man. It's just getting that flow of conversation and...
Yeah. Communication's key, man. Yeah. In anything, you know, especially a relationship, you know, and no matter what your why is, and we've all got our whys, you know, my why is my little beautiful 2 little girls, and I love them to death. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think if you really look inside any man or any lady, we all want love.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about love, whether it's, you know, the most important, loving yourself, you know, loving your family, loving your mum, loving your little girls. Like, it's all about love in the end, isn't it? Like,
yeah, that's the ultimate experience as a human, is to give love and be loved in return. And the cold, dark truth of it is men have done terrible things to women over time, but it's been by design, right? It's the divide and conquer approach. If men are fighting women, there's division, right? And then if men are fighting men, there's further division. If black men are fighting white men, there's even further division. It's been plagued, you know...
The government at its best.
Oh, let's not get too political, because this will go out to a 4-hour podcast. But I do, you know, it's by design, you know, and what we've got to understand is, okay, I'm potentially not a perpetrator in my own right, but some of my ancestral lineage may have been. So I'm breaking the ancestral chains by doing this work, and I'm setting the standard for the next generation to come, like we all are. So that's what's happening, is women are seeing men do the work and they're going, well, that's different to the way I was treated. I want that. I want that energy. I want to be loved. I want a man who can speak to me from his heart, not just from his dick.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's our duty is to help other men become good men.
Yeah.
You know, because it's all inside of us. No one wakes up in the morning and goes, I want to be a perpetrator.
Yeah.
It's by design. It's either environmental, subconscious, or sometimes spiritual, right?
And it's a little bit like what Liam was saying as well. I mean, I only knew one way. I only got taught one way.
That's
the
all we
way I
got
got
taught.
brought up. Yeah, that's right. And it's not until you start doing the work, and I think that's sometimes it's hard when you're doing the work as well, like this sort of work, because you're waking up like, what the fuck, man? I was actually thinking this, and then you start questioning everything. Like, fuck, am I thinking right?
So beautiful, but isn't it? You've just got sorry, bro.
No, you're right. And the deeper you go, the harder it gets as well, because you're stripping away more and more, and you're getting deeper and
fucking real.
You know, I've had so many stages of that where I've gone, fuck, I've done all this work, and right now I feel worse. You know, why is that? And then you talk about it, or you connect with a brother and you have that conversation, and they're like, yeah, because you're breaking through. Like, that's the process. But
what do you do in those situations, man? I've got another story.
breathe.
Connect to your heart center and just keep on going, keep on waking up, putting that next foot in front of the next one. You know, just keep on taking that next step, doing that extra training session, doing that extra kilometre, whatever it takes. Just fucking wake up and show up and do it.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think seeing it as a process of breakthrough as well, like that's really helped me, because then you're like, okay, if this is a physical and mental sort of actual breakthrough, then I need to go to the ocean, I need to smash some waves and scream underwater, or, you know, like actually process it out of your body.
Yeah.
You know, because you're in a process of when you feel low like that and depressed, and you know, it's a process of some shit that needs to get out.
Yeah.
It needs to actually leave your body.
I actually am coming out the back end of about seven weeks of going through this, man, and yeah, like even at the men's circle, I shared it a little bit, and one thing I've learned from it is being aware as well, like trying to sense it before it gets too big as well, like and yeah, being aware of it, and then using those resources along the way rather than it just be built up. Or I explained it to the boys the other night of like, I felt like I've been backed into a corner, and like any boxer, you know, if you're backed into a corner, you've got two things: you're either going to get knocked out, or you're going to come fucking flying out, swinging punches everywhere, you know. And I sort of come out swinging punches everywhere, and then you know, not really being in that good space. And so yeah, one of the lessons I learned, and even if just again for those who are listening, you know, like I was in this sort of real, like I had this starting line going on. I had fucking real going, also a, you know, single father as well, and full-time job, and then life just in general. And I could just, and I was sort of asking those, and I'm going deep in my own mental health, and I just felt all this pressure was coming on. And I couldn't really work it out, because I'm thinking I'm doing all the right things, man. You know, I'm doing breath work, I'm down the beach, I'm fucking meditating, and, you know. And it was just because I was going deep, really, in hindsight, looking back.
Shit was just getting real for you.
Yeah.
The change was happening.
And then the universe threw in my grandfather passing away 2 weeks later. And and then it just sort of...
While you're down there, let's just
let's roll a little
see
bit more.
how resilient you are.
Exactly, bro.
Let's see what you're really made of.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's all part of your, you know, awakening as well, you know.
Well, normally I'd go and hit the bags and alcohol fucking straight away, you know, but I was navigating my way through it. But the beautiful thing, and I did get on the piss one of those nights, and coming out even the RV, and even though I sort of felt okay with it, I understood it. I had a lot of guilt and shame the following morning about it, especially being in this space.
Yeah.
You know, so I asked some questions to myself, but the whole journey of it now is that I understood that this is a lesson, and what the fuck am I going to take from it in terms of growth, and, you know.
I think as well we've been conditioned as well to think, okay, if you're feeling bad, you know, you've got a headache, take Panadol. If you're feeling bad, you know, you have to stop feeling bad. If you feel depressed, you got to, you know, get up and you got to keep going, especially as men, you know, like just keep going. So through that, we're not trained, we're not educated on how do we just sit in a really shit emotion. You know, like all our emotions have a purpose. They're all there for a reason. But the uncomfortable ones, you know, how do we just actually sit in that? And, you know, I was terrible at that as well. It's like, oh, I feel bad. Let's have a drink or let's do whatever. But to just go, okay, I'm feeling low, check in with myself, what's going on, you know, what's possibly underneath all that as well. You know, not just I feel like shit and I want to stop feeling like that because that means something's wrong with me.
Yeah, I used to when I felt like shit or that, you know, mine was like I felt like I was digging out of a hole and the sand kept on feeling on top of my head. And then every now and then I'd see a light come through and I'd go, oh, fuck, an opening, oh, good thoughts. And then bang, the sand would just come back down. And that's what I spent most of my life dealing with my depression. It locked me in a room. I couldn't get out of bed for days, you know, but I didn't have that awareness. And what you said before, brother, the awareness is the first key to unlocking anything. Without awareness, you can't fix anything. So once you get that awareness, you go, this is what's happening. Okay, I've got depression. Now, okay, let's put them tools, let's put that things in place, you know, so then I can pick up on the certain things before it actually gets to that hot sand falling on top of my head. So it was just navigating around them signs and symptoms, what led me down that path. Yeah. It's taken me, don't like to say my age, but it's taken me a long time.
And I mean, you're probably going to agree with this as well, and being a part of the men group as well, man. Like, I mean, my first men, but also I'd done like a similar sort of one with Al. And I realised that by doing, you know, like the 90 breathwork or having the men's circles or, you know, whatever it may be, meditation, I think it's like doing a whole handful of things, really. With giving up alcohol, if that's what you want to call it, I mean, I've got a different relationship with it now. I now look at it like that was my medicine.
Yeah.
And that was always going to be my medicine until I actually got rid of the trauma or the pain or the guilt and shame. And then as I find that you're healing yourself when doing the work on yourself, that the alcohol or the medicine tends to just fade away. It doesn't seem to be so...
It's not so relevant. It's not so in your face. Like the only way to get over this is go and get on the bags or have a drink or eat, whatever your self-sabotage mechanism was. You know, you work out different ways, and my way is to be in this work. The way I can be the best version of myself, for myself first and foremost, but then for my little girls and my missus and you brothers, is to be in this space. The more I'm in this space, the more I'm going to podcast or down the beach or, you know, one of Ty's events or one of Rye's events or Cam's event. There's no right thing. There's not a retreat that's right. There's not a workshop that's right. There's not a 9D, which is fucking amazing, to mind you. And there's a men's circle. Like, I got some of the most powerful shares out of that men's circle on Friday night, bro. You know, and I've done a lot of work, and some of them gold nuggets that were dropped on Friday night was like, fuck, yeah, I've got to go back and work on that. Even though I went first in that space, and I never go first, and I reckon I fucking owned it, and I spoke really well. And I didn't have to wait till you got around to the 10th and heard all these other stories and then I was just bang, straight on the back, felt fucking honoured and blessed to...
You definitely set the bar.
I did,
like
bro.
I
did. You know what? Yeah, I did, bro. I fucking did. I'm going to own that because I'm worthy of that now.
100%.
And, you know, like... it's just powerful, man. So there's no right or wrong thing. It was at a men's group, sitting around, sharing, fucking dropping some bombs, and then I was like, by the time it got around, I've gone, fuck, I've got to go back to what Ben said, what Rice said. I've got to go back and work on them two things now for the next however long, and then put that artillery into my tool bag. And it was just like, bang.
And how cool was it that as males, we didn't have to sit there and try and fix each other's problems. No. We actually fixed all these problems by just listening and sharing and listening.
Yeah. 100%. That's the beauty of... You know.
There was a really good line said early morning before the International Men's Day event on Sunday. The guys from Chili Willy's joined up for a dip, and we had a share there, and there was one guy, young guy there, that I think it was his first time or his second time. And when we paired up and just had a bit of a share, when we came back into the circle, he explained it perfectly. Just by chance, he said, I didn't even know what I wanted to talk about, but then I just started talking, right? And I was like, I fucking love that because that actually sums up exactly what a men's circle, what men getting together and sharing is all about. You don't have to sit there and go, okay, what am I going to share today? What things do I need to let these brothers know about? It's like he literally just started talking, and then because people are listening and not trying to solve it, they're just being witness, they're just being there. The occasional hand on the heart when it resonates with them, you end up unraveling all that yourself just by being able to talk and being heard.
I got exactly that from Cams the other night, man. Again, I didn't know what I was rocking up to, so I had no, I didn't know what I was talking about. You set the bar pretty high in terms of starting the circle around, and and after I finished, I still didn't really know what I was talking about even when it come to my turn. I was just like, right, well, everyone else just laid it out, so I'll just tell everyone what I'm laying out. And then I sort of walked away going, fuck, I was actually holding on to all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually fucking holding on to all that. And the brothers just heard me out, and I feel, I'm walking out the door feeling fucking heaps better, man. Yeah.
We just want to be heard, don't we?
That's it. And that's where the medicine comes in, is because when you're at home, right, you talk to your wife, you got to worry about what the ramifications are if you talk to her, right? Is it going to upset her? Is it going to maybe trigger her? Is it going to create more work for you both? But when you're in a men's circle, it's like you're not taking another man home. Like, okay, there might be other circles out there that are designed like that, but not ours, that's for sure. So you're able to leave it there. You're able to put it on the table. You're able to speak into that circle freely, openly, and trustingly. And that's it. And that is often all we need to do, is just get it off our chest in a healthy manner where it doesn't involve drugs, alcohol, all those other suppressive measures. It's getting that energy out of your body. And Ty mentioned it earlier. Sometimes you need to move as well, and like Cam took us through that excellent, shaking meditation. That got rid of those extra layers that were still in the field of energy. You could feel it, right? It was still pretty dense and heavy after the shares. So, you couple men's circle, like the trust, the vulnerability, the witness, with movement, with breath, and that's your medicine right there. That all that combined is just, it's next level, and that's why we're seeing such a strong push for this work, you know.
And also just meeting other brothers, man, and like, I mean, a lot of the boys even who I haven't met before, you sort of know that from here on in.
I had some boys come up to me. They go, "Oh, fuck, you're that guy that I've seen on that guy's page, man. I've been wanting to follow you for ages." Like, I had Nick come up to me on Sunday. "Fuck, bro, what you do and how you do it with such young kids and the shit that you've been through, you're an inspiration." And I just looked at him going, old Liam would have brushed that aside. I never thought I was worthy or received love well. But now that I've worked on myself and, own that my self-love is worthy and I do love myself and I am worthy of the life I'm creating, it was like, you know what, fucking oath, I am, man. I'm a fucking beast. And I'm going to keep on showing up. I'm the fucking man.
For sure.
And that's 12 months ago, bro, I wouldn't have said that to you. I've just gone, I'm not worth this, bro. I'm not worth to come and sit on this podcast. Some of the men that have sat before me. But you know what? Rye's no better. Like, we're no better than each other. We're going through this journey side by side. It's not Dave or Rye in front of me and Ty. We're side by side, brothers. We're fucking linked at arms. We're going to the sky and above. There's no limit.
And how is it that we're just all adding out? We're just a piece of the jigsaw puzzle, aren't we? I look at this podcast, I just go, there's my bit there, your bit's up here and your one's coming in over here, and that's how I look at it. And then, like, the bigger picture, man, it's just like, fuck, it's all coming together.
And that's what I mean, removing that, like Ryan said, it's not about you personally. So, I run a men's circle, which is fairly new as well, and there's no competition. Like, there's no one going, oh, well, like, I advertise all the men's circles that are on for that week, because there's lots of guys that can't go to mine, or they might be more suited to go to this one on Monday night, or they might be more suited to go to Cam's. And is this we're all doing the same purpose? And
so these men's circles, I think I've just asked the question before. So they all under the Brotherhood Awakening, or?
No, look, like,
so how we,
so Brotherhood Awakening is a new concept, right? So we were only birthed this year. We were birthed last year, and we were born physically this year.
It was painful.
Yeah, it was 9 months almost to the day. But what Brotherhood Awakening brings to the Perth community is a bigger platform for men to gather together as facilitators, as brothers, and it's that circular sort of leadership model where, okay, you've got people that have created the experience, but you've got this whole selection of leaders and facilitators that have co-created it. And that's where a lot of the magic is happening in what we're doing right here. There's a circle on the table for a reason, right? There's not a square there. It's not a box. It's a circle. And you can look at things like that, like symbolism, and see what that actually means. And a circle shows, continuity. So, like, if you want something to last a long time, a circle is a great symbol to show that energy.
Yeah.
It's ever present, omnipresent. It's continuous. There's no tier. So, like, when you start operating in hierarchy, like tiered leadership, it has a purpose, but if everything's tiered leadership, there's always someone who's quote unquote better than the other, or stronger, or more powerful or dominant. But when you work in a circular leadership, in certain places, right, when you're dealing with hearts and humans, circles just work so well.
Fuck yeah.
There's not a triangle piece of fruit in the world. There's not a triangle vegetable. There's nothing that keeps you healthy that's a shape of a triangle. But there's tons of circles, right? The moon, the sun, everything, water droplets, everything's circular.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah,
like you just look that deep, and you know the way we've been created.
Yeah.
When you work against creation, you have chaos. Work with creation, and that's what we're doing here. We're working together.
Fuck yeah.
And that's what Brotherhood Awakening does.
Yeah, wicked.
Creates a platform for men to work together.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah.
And this work is not complex. It's not complicated. Again, what we were talking about on the drive here, it's just the simple act of bringing men together and having that safety, and they can share and they can interact, and everyone's greeted with a hug, and there's none of that other bullshit. We don't need to necessarily run this intellectual program and how are we going to fix men. Just this stuff, just bringing them together and having that safety.
And any one of those that are listening want to get involved in any of these things, is it all on Instagram? And I'm going to display your guys. This is what I do. I grab your website and logos and things like that and put them up on the fucking real website, so people can go there. But obviously they reach out to you guys, can find a group and.
Yeah, 100%. We're on Insta. We're just about to kick off in December, our official promotion phase for next year. So that's going to come in hot. We've got some big changes for 2024. But the main thing is, keep your eyes open. If you bury your head in the sand, you're not going to find shit but sand, right? You come up for air and you look around, you're going to find magic. There's magic everywhere. There's tons of magic in this room even. And so you start looking wider, you see more magic. So I get people every day reach out oh, my husband's going through this, or the father of the kids is going through this, where can they go? And I automatically know, because I've done a lot of work internally, same as all of us here. I know that I'm not the fixer. I'm just the bridge. I'm the bridge between worlds. Yeah. So when you can operate out of that mentality, which is what makes Brotherhood Awakening so successful, I don't fix the 150, 200 men that come there. I just put them in the right place and point them in the right direction. And they might come to Liam for some support. They might come to Ty. They might actually come back and end up with me at some time, but that's not the intention.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about
what different levels of life anyway, aren't we? And sometimes we relate to different people as well. And
exactly.
I even just know, going back to that sort of 6-7 weeks where I was finding it pretty hard, man. Fucking just having the brothers. Liam, you called me a few times too, bro. And just the love from the brothers, man, and purely just want to know fucking how you're holding up today.
That's it, bro.
And yeah, man,
I don't need nothing off you, bro. I just need to know that you're okay. And the thing we said before, Rye, about the circle, and what Ty said, and I've got written in some of my notes, I've just done a self-love roadmap book for the last 8 weeks through them, and, don't compete. Competition's a weakness. Each circle, like what Rye said, he doesn't do anything special. We put the men in the circles, and then by linking up side by side, you do the work does itself. We give you the right tools or talk about the right topics and whatnot, and what's good about us men that do the work is, for myself, and I know within Amend, we've all been through it. And what a beautiful, you can't teach something that, and I think the best teachers are the guys that have gone through it, so
Absolutely.
We can sit there and, I used to feel like a fraud. I can't rock up and facilitate at this breathwork or this workshop because I'm not showing up for myself, or I've got problems with myself or my relationship with my little girls. I'm not being the man that I'm portraying to these men. That's the fucking best time to show up and hold space for a man. Sure. When you're in that space, go and fucking show up, because not only is that showing up, but that's not only then getting out of that slump and getting out and helping these men, it's also helping yourself. You know, that's what I love about this work. By me sitting there and helping other men, I go home from a workshop or a circle or a retreat, bro, and I'm fucking pumped. Like, you know, and it's so important just to keep on having these conversations, keep on having these circles. You know, what one circle might bring, someone might connect with Ty, someone might connect with Rye, but like there's something for everyone out there, man. And there's no need for competition because there's that many men in Perth that need it. You know, there's enough for everyone to go around. There's no need to say, oh, what Ty's doing, what Rye's doing, it's not right. There's no right or wrong way. It's just what's your way. You know,
and you got to go where you resonate with as well. Like, not everyone facilitating this work or doing this work is going to be right for you just because they're doing men's work or just because they're holding a retreat. Like that's why it's a process of tapping into your heart as well, and just going, well, yeah, that guy's doing some great stuff and well done, you know, but he's not for me, or that thing's not for me, you know.
And again, you just want to keep trying and going through them until you sort of find it. Just on that note, though, we're talking about amend. I've had Wah and Mark on here earlier on when they were over here in Perth, and they're doing great stuff. And then before you're talking about the East Coast, how they're like a little bit more advanced than us, which we're going to take over that at some stage soon. I'd imagine.
We had this conversation today on FaceTime, bro. We had a meeting, and it was like Perth's going to be bigger than the East Coast. You know, it's gonna blow up, and that's what I said before, bro. It's only the beginning.
So what's the go, bro? Can you let any information out there with what Amend are doing over here in Perth soon, bro?
So we've just Amend Movement's a men movement, mate, and the beautiful brothers, for you that don't know that's listening, it's a movement resignated on the Gold Coast, and the brothers are. I've been to a lot of spaces, and this isn't putting anyone else down. Brother Rye, I've been to many spaces with him, and Cam is he's special, but. Brother Wah, man, I wouldn't be at this table being able to be the man I am today without that beautiful brother. He has created and just given me the self-love and self-worth that I am the man I am today. So I owe my whole heart to him, and I love him to death. So when I got asked to be a part of the Mend, me and Al now run a Mend over here. So this is our baby. Obviously, it's connected with the brothers back there. But Amend 2024, we sat down and done some planning today, and it's going to be fucking. It's lift off, babe. It's going to be fire. It's crazy.
All here in Perth.
All here in Perth. Obviously, Wah, Tu, and Jace are the guys on the Gold Coast. Marky, Damo, and Nate are the boys on Melbourne. Big Country, Hubsy, he's on the Central Coast or something, but he's wow as well. But then me and Al over here, bro. We've got 4 workshops, 2 retreats, and then me and Al are doing the 9D breathwork on top of that, and also included in the retreats and breathwork workshops. And do probably some walks here and there, but they're the main big things, man. Cool. So it's going to start mid-Feb, I think we've penciled in, but yeah, the dates are due to change.
So
but
stay tuned,
brother. It's like I said, it's one group, and it's a powerful group, and you'll get gold nuggets out of that and tools out of that to carry on to Ty's thing or Rye's thing. It's you know, and I'll be a part of them all, bro. I just don't do Amend, I do them all, and they're all powerful in their own way. But you know, my heart is Amend, and will be, and it always has been, and I'll die with it. My next tattoo, besides my little girl's names on my gut, is Amend. It means the world to me, bro. It's where my journey first started, and it's where it will end.
Yeah,
so it means the world to me, bro.
And it's needed, man. You know, like I guess of you know, coming from the Amend event that they had here. Fuck, how long ago was it? A few months back now.
It was, it was.
Yeah, and to come out of it, and then you're just buzzing on a high, like everything we do, really.
100%.
And you want to tell the world how fucking awesome it is.
Yeah, bro.
And so it's good to know that it is going to be established over here in WA too, man.
It's coming. We just started up Instagram Amend Men Movement Perth. Nice. So yeah, she real, bro. We've got the backing of Wah, the beautiful brother. It's still his baby, but he's just branched out and let us, you know, he loves us, he trusts us, and like you said, we're brothers, we're family.
That's that circular leadership, isn't it?
100%.
Spreading it out.
Spreading it out, like, you know, one man can't do it all, and what he has created, and transformed is mind-blowing, and like us all. But, you know, together it's so much power. Like one strong man plus two strong men plus, I think there's 11 leaders, sorry, not I think, there's 11 leaders. How fucking strong and powerful is that? You know, we've all got different strengths and weaknesses. Let's leverage on each one of them and fucking grow.
I guess I've got something very similar that I'm trying to set up with the starting line as well. You know, like I want it to be a hub, man, where people can come when they're suffering with mental health or addiction with something like that. And again, like what you're saying as well, like you've got just strong men. You're sort of like, well, you'll probably relate with this guy, or you could go and do this, or this. A men's coming up next weekend, you should enroll in that, go and give that a go. The biggest thing for me, though, with the starting line is I want to make it free. So I want to go to a men, how many tickets can I buy for $2,000? I've been donated. You can go, you can have fucking 10 or whatever it may be. Then I can go and give that 10 to some fathers that are out there that are fucking busting their asses off and go, man, get to the men. This is going to fucking change your world. And that's why I'm trying to put the starting line into a charity so I can get some bigger funding and then set this shit on fire, basically.
That's it, man. And just before we shift from Amend, I just want to take my hat off to the diversity in that group, man. Like, we're quite different here at the table. I'm probably the only one in the room with no tattoos. And that stops me from connecting with some guys
100%.
Cold-heartedly, like it is. It's just, we are visual creatures. And the fact that we've got men like Liam, Alan, and all these other brothers, you know, I don't know them personally, over East Coast, coming into the space, and they have been doing for a while, that opens up the books to so many more men who need the healing. And that is what makes these things so powerful, is the diversity. Because without diversity, we all end up the same, and we don't want that. You know, that's what we're battling against, is that mindset of everyone being the same.
We're all brothers, man.
Exactly. But if we can bring them in from all different walks of life, you know, different backgrounds, you know, different life experiences, then we're able to reach more men. And then the healing goes further and further and further. And then in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, we're in a whole different world.
That's it, bro.
You know, and we're all still working together because it was born together. You know, those that are born together die together. So it's like...
I also find that in the plant-based medicine circle as well, man. It's good to be able to shine a little bit more light on that and have a little bit of a different...
deeper.
Well, people coming into that space as well, making it normalised for all men to come and feel safe in those circles as well.
Like back when this work first started, it was like yogis or like breathwork facilitators that were mainly women or beautiful, good-looking, young, pretty boy-looking guys like Ryan. Like, let's be honest. No, but look at the man. You know what I mean? But it wasn't guys with stubble or, you know, tie in his nose ring and tattoos. Like that is a massive one, bro. You know, they were all pretty boy-looking boys like Ryan. And me, I don't give a fuck, but like there are a lot of men, and I think Ty's spoken to it before, like, you know, you get worried about, I can't go to Ty's group, like, you know, he's a dad, or Rye's too pretty for me, and, you know, he holds himself well, or, you know, and, I can't go to Liam, like, he's got tattoos and that, but them guys that have got the tattoos or the darker past are the guys that can come and relate to us, and they're the guys that need it the most, you know. So not only are we helping the pretty boy looking guys or the yogis or the women, now we're getting to the guys that actually need it the most, bro. And that's what I love about, man. I like it that you brought that point up, brother.
And to be quite truthful, in a non-judgmental space, like, these are some of the top perpetrators.
100%.
You know, they've been in and out of jail their whole life, you know, like, they've been pushed so fucking deep into the pressures of life that they've had no other choice but to rebel through violence, drugs, crime, all that sort of stuff. So, like, why did they get left behind? And once again, it's by design, you know, perpetuate that criminal activity in the communities, and it just keeps on worsening. But if we can bring it back with love, with guys like Liam that live and breathe from the heart, like, there's no question about this man's heart. Like, the moment I met him at the... in Scarborough at the mental health workshop, like, my old self was triggered because he's bigger than me, and he's muscular and more muscular than me, and he's got tons of tattoos. But my heart opened up, and I was like, I see him for who he is, and we connected right there and then, and, like, you know, we've become such close brothers, and we see each other. But had we have not done this work, that would still be an old story of, like, this guy's here to kill me or take from me, you know?
It's that competition, like, you know, he looks just as fit as me, like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to beat him, I'm not going to let him stand there and overpower my presence or take away from my energy.
Mine was always being older, and when I first sort of came into it, I was coming out of an injury as well and some health issues. So being around a lot of young fit guys, even going to the Ignite sessions, you know, I shit myself again because I think, you straight away have all those fears. What am I going to be able to keep up? What are they going to do? Are they just going to be like ripping out bloody pull-ups?
No, you're the first with your shirt off.
He actually was on that Sunday, weren't you? And looks good too. And
I still can't do pull-ups, but
just
it doesn't, it doesn't matter.
just quietly, we won.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Hey, we went on our team. That's all right.
But look, just on because Rye's mentioned it a couple of times around perpetrators and these old stories around men, and just wanted to share. Just recently, I've started doing some casual work with men who have offended with domestic violence, and it's through a program that's run. It's a residential 6-month thing that mostly they're coming out of prison and it's part of their parole, right?
Okay.
First proper shift that I did last week, which included being, part of the group sessions. I was just observing, so I was just sitting there, and I wrote some stuff down in my journal because I was sitting there thinking, again, we're visual, we categorise people and we try and sort of make them fit. So I was sitting there thinking, okay, these guys are going to look a certain way, they're going to talk a certain way, they're going to have certain attitudes because they're offenders, or they've been in prison. And while they were in this group and they were going through the stuff and they were basically sharing things about their emotions and, the times of challenging times where they would turn to drugs or violence or both, what were the triggers and that sort of stuff. It just blew my mind because I thought these guys are talking about exactly the same stuff that we all talk about in our circles. Not feeling seen, not feeling heard, not knowing what to do with emotions, feeling disrespected, all the same fucking experiences.
And judged as well. Like, I mean, you were talking about being like judged. Well, like 100%. The judging goes both ways, man. It's like, am I going to get looked down on if I actually open up what the fuck I've been up to and my stories? Who, am I going to get condemned for for those things? A lot of guilt and shame and
And because that judgment now really exists against perpetrators, for some of them that's like 3/4 of the battle is what's the point of me doing this work because everyone's still going to just see me as this person. You know what I mean? But that was just I said to them at the end, I was like, you guys have blown me away today and massive respect to you guys. I know that this is hard, but you guys are all sitting here, you guys are here, you're doing this work, you've committed to being in this program because you want it, that something has to change. I said, and that in itself is massive. That's a huge step. So don't beat yourself up too much when you have these hard days going through the program because just the fact that you're here is massive.
Cool. I done like a men's group with Holyoke for drug and alcohol counselling. That's a story in itself, really, man. But fuck, it's really where I did wake up to men's groups, man, and how powerful they are. At first, I was resisting, like, oh no, I'm too fucking good to go in there, as if I'm going to go into an AA meeting and shit like that. That's the actual attitude I had, man. I regret it now, but because it was fucking one of the best things I ever done for myself, man. But I've learned that 80% of people that relapse from drugs or alcohol is purely because the community don't accept them for their new self with all this work they're doing. And then they go into their communities or their wife or their, their families and stuff like that, maybe even come out of prison and things, and they're just they're not trusted, because all they know is the old person. And, so it fucking really woke me up, man. Like 80% of people that relapse is pure.
And again, that's the same for anyone who goes through a massive shift or a massive transformational change. They're going to have resistance. They're going to have people close to them. They're going to have people in their family that are like, well, hang on, you're not like that. I need you to be the old person because that's makes me comfortable. So
but how does family, a good example is like when, like a mother's seen her son go through drug addiction. We're getting pretty heavy here, but, drug addiction. and let's say ice, because that seems to be the fucking the heavy one.
Killer, yeah.
And the mums are doing everything they can to keep, I don't know, I mean, at first she puts blinkers on and doesn't want to know about it. Then it becomes in her house and, you know, whatever goes on. But, like, what do you do in those situations to build that trust back? You know, her son comes back, and I'm just using a son and mother because it tends to be a common thing. You know, fuck, it's just a hard thing, isn't it? For that mum to really, trust. And is there any ways of coping, or, you know, as from a parent's point of view, what they can do, man? Like, in terms of I know setting boundaries is a big one that's come up before when I've asked this question.
Yeah, you could, like, I don't have a lot of experience in a clinical setting, but, you know, like, as a mother, I can't speak obviously from that perspective either, but, like, we have to understand that there's a time when enough is enough, you know, and sometimes that is the medicine someone needs, is like, I've done everything I can physically do to help you. You can no longer lead the horse to water, and like, you can lead it, but you can't make it drink. You know, it's that old analogy, right? But I think, like, society's got a lot to answer for, because much like the prison system, you put an addict into some type of program that's just been repeated for years and years and years, and it's not shown to have successful results. They just go back into the system, right? That's another thing which we need to help, is create better systems, because if the old system's not working, like, it needs to be fixed, right? Like, let's create new systems. And a lot of this stuff that we're doing now is coming into these spaces, like Ty's going into you know, jail systems or rehabilitation centres, and the work we're doing is getting out there. What I say to a lot of people, and it is quite hard to swallow, is we have to be patient, because we are rewiring a system that's been in place for hundreds of years. It's not going to change overnight. Yeah. And that's one of the hardest bits to you know, really actually accept, is it's not going to change overnight. But that's where the spirit of a human comes in. Well, how far can they push themselves? How far can they actually keep grinding when they can't see results? Because sometimes you don't see them till later on, you know, and like, this isn't a political sort of debate, but once again, the system's created dopamine addicts, not just from drugs and alcohol, but from social media, from technology, from advertising, all this kind of crap that's, like, making us want results yesterday.
Yeah.
So, like, most humans don't have any patience anymore, which is adding to the you know, problems, effects of all these social issues, right? So, like, that's where in these spaces we're working, we need to bring presence into these spaces, rather than kind of like, come in, right, sweet, we've done a podcast, let's go, see you later. Like, we're not doing that here. You know, we dropped into the breath. That's patience, it's presence. Afterwards, I'm sure we'll have a share, we'll have a bit of a chill, you know. We need to bring that type of energy into more of these things we're doing, so that we can then start to recalibrate our nervous systems to be more present and more patient. Because if our nervous systems are firing like 100 miles an hour, you're not going to get that time to breathe, to stop and to slow down, you know. So that's all I can give from my experience, is take a moment to stop and to breathe. Because if you're still go every single time, you can't see the answer, even if it's right in front of you. And for some of these mums, some of these fathers, especially single parents, the answer's right in front of you. And that answer's love. Yeah. But if you're not present enough to see or feel that love, you've got no hope, you know? So
I've seen it a little bit in the Amend, the last Amend event we went to with WA. You know, there's you know, like, I mean, you see, you do see, like, abuse of alcohol and drugs a little bit more, and I think it's just the calibre of sort of guys that are coming along to these things. I mean, me included, man. I'm not judging anyone here, but and when love is added into this event, like, you just see the dynamic change, bro, among all the boys that are there, because again, like, you're seeing these big strong men come into this, a men project, and fuck it, you know, I sometimes had this feeling of if a random opened up the fucking door and saw the guys that are laying on the ground screaming with 9D, it'd be like, fucking what the fuck is going on here?
Right, well, we've had some catch-ups down at these like fancy cafes, like, you know, 3 or 4 boys all looking like us, and then we had this this older fella and this young girl, and like they listened to our whole conversation. We were talking about the most vulnerable stuff, our feelings, our emotions, and they come over after our conversation and said, thank you. We judged what yous would have been talking about so differently than what yous were talking about. From what yous were talking about, the way that yous like look and perceive yourselves to the public, we thank you. And we've just gone, what? We were just being normal. We were just having a normal morning brunch conversation. This is what we do.
How awesome is that you got that presence in public though, man? And I guess that's what you're talking about, eh?
Yeah.
But that's what's so, like, how powerful are we, the men that look like this, that can sit. I can cry mid-conversation. I'm surprised I haven't cried yet. Someone will hit a nerve and I will start crying. I can cry mid-conversation. Before I started doing this work, or before I become a dad to the most 2 beautiful little girls, I probably cried twice in my whole life, if that. Now
Can I talk about that for a second? Because I
100%.
literally had to come up with a mate
100%.
today.
Very important.
And he said, I just can't cry. And he's been watching what I've been doing in the background, like a lot of people do. And I think that's important that we all recognise that, because we're leaders, you know. And
100%.
But he's slowly coming around. He's asking more questions.
Yeah,
you know,
he'll be here. That's that awareness. It's the first step. He'll be here, man.
Yeah, oh, for
He'll
sure,
be crying
man.
with
He's
us
for
soon,
sure.
don't worry. Come cry with us, brother.
He'll
We
be
got you,
the next
brother.
event,
We
mate.
got you.
We got you.
He will be there.
It's a safe.
What's his, mind giving us his first name? Send him a shout out.
Yeah. Oh, should I?
love.
Yeah, I will. But so with crying, and I can relate to this as well, man. You know, you suppress that emotion that's coming up, and leaning into it. So it's one of the most beautiful things you can do. Well, what advice would you give to someone that's listening, my mate, to learn how to cry?
Your unnamed mate.
Yeah.
Dave's mate, start crying.
Again, it's that you've got to be connected. You know, anything that is covering shit up, masking it, you know, anything that we're doing or taking or drinking that's covering that up, you know, that's suppressing. And there are a lot of guys that have that issue, and it's an old story that comes from whatever in their past, you know, that they shouldn't cry. Even when some guys start to cry in these spaces, they straight away go, oh shit, sorry. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. And it's like, it came because it has to come out of you.
Is it because it's embedded in them somewhere, what, as a child as well?
Yeah, boys don't cry and girls do,
And if you do cry,
and all that stuff.
You're weak.
But
you know, you're
my
a pussy.
or even
my-
a slap across the head sometimes, you
100%,
know, like
yeah.
My
we would've got punched in the mouth.
6-year-old doesn't cry and go, oh shit, sorry, you know, like it's learnt over time. And I used to be a teacher, so, you know, at the time I was teaching high school, I had young kids, and you see the change. You know, you can see it change. You have year 7s come in for high school orientation, and they're all, you know, primary school stage, and then throughout that first year of high school, you see the girls change, you see the boys change, because they're slipping into a new system, you know, where they're
A messed up system.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
Don't get me talking about the education system.
Oh, mate,
Fucking
like,
hell.
let's talk about it, man. I'm fucking over it.
Yeah.
But imagine, like, what you were saying before. I heard this quote the other day that the Dalai Lama said that if every child in school was taught how to meditate, all the violence and war would be gone from the world. And I was just like, fuck. You know, like, kids come into school and they're like, right, kids, line up, do this, sit down, right, do your work, shut up. It's all that stuff. So kids are, you know, like,
And
as,
if you
as
can't
a
sit
parent,
and if you can't sit on the mat any longer than fucking 1 hour, we're going to shove some pills.
you've got
down your throat.
ADHD.
Yeah, you got ADHD.
Go and get some Dexies.
Yeah.
They're good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, don't-
If you can't sit still for 8 hours,
Yeah.
as a boy especially, you know, you've got ADHD, you know, and like where my son goes to school, it's a beautiful school. So there is a bit more of that calmness and presence, you know, but as a system, it's not going to be any different until there's massive, you know, it needs to be scrapped and rebuilt to what we need today. You know, we can't just go, oh, as adults, we need to learn how to meditate. We need to learn how to be present, and we need to get the calm app and do mindfulness, you know, because then we've already had a whole childhood of being rushed, and, you know, it's like this disconnect of shut up, but also you've got to achieve, and you've got to speak up, and you've got to...
Yeah, I'm sort of going through it at the moment, being a father, and you know, we spoke about it before of like we're showing up and being role models to my boy. You know, he's seen doing ice baths and with all you boys, and been to a few of the events and whatnot, and you know, he's also been in here and wants to be a part of the podcast. He asks me all the time, which I think will happen next year. You'll get him in one of these years, and you know, he's going to grow up obviously seeing all that, which is great. But as a father, and for him when he does start going, but Dad, because we're also thinking outside the box, and we're changing up the system on the way males think, act, you know, emotions, like with crime, we're making that normal. We're normalising a lot of shit, actually.
100%.
And so when all these things go as a father, you know, my daughter's already saying it at 14, sort of like, I like going to school, I just get anxiety, and it's just because I feel controlled, and I don't want to, like, I don't want to fit into that system, but I want to go to school. And me as a father, I'm sort of like, I totally understand. You know, most parents feel obliged to go, no, you've got to go to school because that's what everyone does.
They're not awakened.
For me, I'm like, if you're not fucking enjoying it, we'll take you out, but you've got to be doing something.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, a lot of parents don't know how to listen. That's the big problem, right? And once again, it's society has created people that can't listen. We can talk a hell of a lot, but we can't listen. You need to listen to your kids. I'm not a parent, but I'm a very proud uncle of, you know, 3 beautiful nephews and 2 beautiful nieces, and I listen to them. You know, I remember the first time my nephew had a panic attack in front of me, and his mum flipped out. She had no idea what to do. I took him around the side, you know, took him out of the immediate environment, was what was triggering his anxiety. And I kept a bit of distance. I didn't want to, like, encroach upon his physical space. And I just said, how are you feeling? And he wouldn't talk. And I said, okay, just do me something and just breathe with me. Took him through a few conscious breaths, and automatically his whole nervous system started to feel safe. And then I said, what's wrong? And he told me what's wrong. And it was like stuff to do with his mum, about being basically told, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. So obviously his nervous system was so wired up, he had nothing to do other than be anxious, because the body's trying to get rid of that energy. So, like, parents need to talk to their kids. And like Ty, I've learned so much from him. Our connection has really helped me prepare for if I become a father at some stage, you know. I'd like to be. I'm not going to force it, because if the universe doesn't have that in store for me, then it's fine. But he's taking a different approach on parenting. He's spending time with his kids, and he's listening to them, and he's shared a lot with me, which I won't repeat here, but it's not been easy for him. But he keeps on showing up. He keeps on doing the work. He keeps on asking his kids, like, what's up? You know, how are you feeling? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, you can talk to me. And hey, sometimes I don't talk to him every time, but if you keep showing up, they'll find safety in that.
My kids have taught me stuff. If you can listen to them, they've got a lot to fucking give, man.
Exactly.
You know, I even just how they approach things, you know, like they don't overcomplicate things. They can, a lot of things, like my boy, the unconditional, he showed me what unconditional love looks like. I've never had it as a kid, really, you know, like, and growing up and whatnot, and fuck, mate, it wouldn't matter what I do, he would still be there with his arms open and giving me that love, man.
And as well, like, listening, in terms of listening to your kids, that's been part of my healing as well, making that switch, because again, as you said, as adults, we're taught to go, you know, on your phone, you're checking emails. You know, if your kid sits there and goes, Dad, he said this to me the other day, are you even listening? Put your phone down. And then you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. And then just, you know, because kids notice everything in the world because it's all fucking new. So when they're like, I really want you to come outside and play with me. If you do the adult response and go, well, no, because I've got to get dinner ready and I've got to do this, and that's all your got-tos, you know. But if you took 10 minutes to go outside and play with your kid because they're actually asking you to, you know, some parents just switch into, oh, stop nagging me, you know, like, oh, I've just got in. All that, like, that's how I used to be, reactive as a parent. And then I started just seeing, you know, I don't like that. I don't want to be that fucking grumpy dad. You know, I want my kids to remember that I fucking had fun with them and that I played with them, and you know, like I'm an older dad as well with my son, with my wife now.
And how quick does it go too, man? You know, like being.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at a stage where I want shit to slow down. You know, because it's going too quick.
I've noticed stages with my son now that I was so much more aware of, that when he was a baby, I remember saying to my wife, I was like, I can't remember my kids doing this, like, because mentally I just wasn't there as much. You know, I wasn't present. I was all in my
own head
crisis that I was going through.
And how much do they see as well, kids?
Oh.
Like
They see everything.
Yeah.
They feel it.
I had a lot of guilt and shame, man. Because I was always under the impression, they don't see shit, you know. And then as I'm getting older into a dad, I'm like, fuck, man, I need to wake the fuck up, man. Like, they're watching me. Especially when I went through bankruptcy and losing my business and stuff like that. My daughter, she was watching every move, you know. And I guess I was getting a lot of strength from that as well, knowing she's watching me. And even through some of them. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I did, like, that's the thing with my kids, man. Like, so I've gone through the process now in my journey, where I'm going back to them and trying to hold space for them to say, I'm happy to talk about the past or anything, you know, just keeping that open, man, for discussion. Working out, it's only really me fucking holding a lot of the guilt and shame and everything from the past. But since I've done that, the conversations I've had, particularly with my daughter, with my boy, we're pretty tight anyway, but like particularly with my middle daughter, Summer, she's... The conversations we're having, man, is just awesome, you know. And then now she's started to do a little bit of boxing with me, and we've done an ice bath the other day. And she's always been real. Like, we've had a tight bond, but going through what I went through of bankruptcy, and then obviously drugs and alcohol, and fucking get into my headspace, you know, I lost a lot of that. Even though I was present as a father, but looking back at it, yeah, compared to who I am now, yeah. And Amend helped me a lot with getting rid of that guilt and shame, by the way, man.
Thanks for plugging, man. You're doing
yeah. I'll fucking plug everyone, man.
100%, but it's enough to go around. And one thing I want to condone and really say to you two brothers is you both bring your young sons to these workshops and whatever we do. Like, I've been with Ty's and I've been with your young fella several times, you know, and from how we were brought up, you know, as older men, like, I come from a broken family. I never had that support, never had that, you know, stability, never had that connection, never had that space to be able to be seen, heard, or listened to. But what you do with your boys to bring them there, what they see in other men's and other groups and men crying, how they're growing up is so much more in tune and just special. Like from what we all had to suppress and work through. We've done the work, and now they reap the rewards. Like, you know, the family I create is more important than the family I come from. You know, we can sit there in guilt and shame and disbelief about the family we come from, because mine was fucked up. You know what I mean? But the one thing that we can't control that. But the one thing we can control is how we create this one.
Good
you
point,
know, bro. Like that's powerful. And like, you know, your why's your sons, your missus, your son, whatever your why is, but being that present, conscious, like my whys are my little girls, but being that present, conscious father, you know, like being there for them, creating that stillness, and actually, Daddy, come and play, instead of going, babe, I just got home from work, I'm too busy, my foot's sore because I'm training 7 days a week. Put your phone down. Like, I don't try not to go on my phone when I get home. Daddy, come and play with me. Bang, I try to be there as fucking tired as I am, you know, and if she hugs me as soon as I walk in that door, I'm the last one to leave that hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's powerful, bro. They see it, and Ben shared at Cam's men's circle the other night. We all got around, and I've started this circle. I'm so proud of the love and the worthiness that I've created for myself. I'm a fucking man, and then Ben, come to Ben, and I've gone, oh, wow. You know, like he went through all what we're going through now, but he wasn't aware or conscious enough of it. So now his kids are now suffering. I don't want that to be my little girls. So the work that I'm doing now is not only for myself, but now my cup's full in self-love. I need to start giving back to my little girls because they see us, you know, and that was just a point on bringing up your boys into these spaces. You know, they're not going to have to work through that suppressiveness because they're getting it firsthand in this beautifulness.
And how do you feel about that too, man? Because with me, it's also a little bit of relief to know that even now, I mean, he's 8 years old. Even now, like if anything was to happen to me and I passed away, I've built that foundation for him too, man, that he can continue on and that legacy, you know.
It's a legacy.
He'd take over the podcast, mate.
And yeah, well, he already wants to, mate. I take him for
Get him in here. Get him hosting it.
Like, he's already started his own channel, and when I go to some of these events, he goes around trying to get everyone to plug in on his, you know, these guys.
And how old is he?
Got me on his YouTube, eh?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's right. Yeah.
100%, bro. But like at 8-year-old, thinking back what we were doing as an 8-year-old, I don't even really know, to tell you the truth. But moving forward, what I was doing as a 12-year-old was not what he's going to be doing as a 12-year-old. Setting up a channel, like I can't even do that now. But you know, mine was drugs, sex, all the bad shit. You know, the life that you're going to bring, that we're going to bring our brothers, or you know, in this case, our sons and our daughters into. Powerful,
and it's never
man.
too late either, man.
Never
too late.
Like, you know, like your young fella that I've met several times, bro, and yours, man, like, you know, they just rock up there. They just hold themselves well, as do you as men. But, you know, like they rock up, you know, at the car wash that time, you know. It was a beautiful day. Your young fella's been at ice baths with him. I've sat there while everyone else was around the table, and I've sat there and had a conversation with your young fella, and he's telling me shit about life, and I've just gone...
And you know what, man? Just I'm going to just be honest here as well. You know, sometimes like my boy just goes and mingles, man, and I see him around the room, like, and you know, he's talking to you, mate, and he holds himself really well. And there's a part of me of a father just going, "Hey, Jefferson, what are you doing, mate?" You know, like, and you want to naturally sort of make sure, but really at the end of it, just fucking go for it, man.
Let him, bro.
Like you're here, just exactly. But sometimes
100%.
as you've got to consciously make that decision. Sometimes as a parent, you know, like I do anyway.
Yeah, no, I guess that's down to, you don't want him to be annoying that other person, you know, or be a burden on him, like, you know, what Rai said. But like for an 8-year-old to be like that, come up to me like tattoos, he don't give a fuck, man. He's talking to me.
But that's adding to the theory that, you know, you shouldn't be seen. You know, as a boy especially, that's harmful. And you know, I've got the full range of kids. I've got a 21-year-old son as well, who unfortunately grew up while I was in my shit, and I was just fucking blinkers on, pretty selfish stage of my life. So that's repair now. You know, that's in a stage of I have to step forward and actually repair that consciously, because I can't change his childhood, you know, but I can still just keep doing what I'm doing. Like, he hasn't joined in, he hasn't come to anything yet, but I think Rai actually gave me this advice early on. It's like, just keep doing what you're doing, because you never know who's watching.
It's such a fucking powerful thing you're talking about there, bro, because I think there's a lot of dads out there, man, that are holding on to that guilt and shame, man. I'll put my fucking hand up. Yeah. Absolutely.
And you could sit there feeling guilty about it, and like you said, feeling guilty about your past and all that, but that's not gonna change anything for now, you know.
Well, you can't change
if I can have a good relationship with him as an adult, then that's going to be a whole different stage of our lives.
100%.
You know.
And there's always time, man. There's always time. I feel like sometimes you get that sort of voice in your head saying, "Fuck," you know, like, "Oh, you left it too late," or "It's over," you know, but. You know, I mean, you just quickly mentioned it there, like, there's been in that present moment. I mean, that's the time you do have. I mean, none of us can say how long we've got.
No.
So
all we have is now. We don't have before. We don't have the future. All we have is right now. And that's about creating that stillness and living in the moment, being where your feet are. You know, and that's one thing I've been working on of late. So... Yeah.
I noticed the conversation comes up a few times. Again, I'm giving Amanda another plug, but when we're there, we're
it's paid sponsorship.
I actually get more when they give me a plug, man.
That's all right, but we've got some nice plugs for you.
But yeah, some of the older boys, you know, they were really noticing that, or they keep mentioning like, "Oh fuck, I wish I had known about this when I was your fella's age," and everything like that.
100%.
And but some of the younger boys are actually saying to them, man, like, "Fucking, it's your time now. We look up to you guys. You know, if you're making the changes at your age, man, it gives us even more strength.
Gives us hope, you know, like there's heaps of time.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
And we need, once again, it comes to diversity. If we were all 30-something men in the space, we'd have 30-something men mentalities. But we've got 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds. Like I've just looked at the retreat I'm running with Sacred Sons next year. We've got a guy who's like 64 coming along, you know, with his whole family lineage. It's like, that's what we need more of in the space as well. So like these men are so welcome. The grey nomads, the
Even
grey,
my son, 8 years old, right up to fucking 80 years old. Man.
Yeah, the whole way through. Like the more people we can get in the space, the more generations we can heal and the more wisdom we can bring through.
True.
You know, an 8-year-old boy teaches us how to be playful, how to be joyful, how to be maybe a bit risky and you know, rather than playing it safe all the time. Whereas, you know, an 80-year-old man will teach us things maybe what not to do and some of the old wisdom from way back, you know.
That's beautiful.
So like having that diversity is so important, and from a culture perspective as well, you know, which is another thing we need to start really focusing on as well, is how can we integrate different cultures into this, because there's wisdom in every walk of life. And, you know, I was blessed enough to go to the States in July and August, and I spent a lot of time over there with like Native American cultured people and African American cultured people, and like seeing things through a different lens, you know. You see the struggles they've got to go through from maybe like a racial background or from a even you know, culturally and things like that. So like you start to bring that into the space, and then this just gets even more powerful and more healing. And
even like Bali or Balinese or something like that, like you know, poverty. To go over there, like I got some mates that would go, oh, I don't like going to Bali. They annoy me. They hassle me. I go, bro, that's their ways of them maybe not eating tonight. You know, like, and yet they've got nothing. Yet they're some of the most happiest people that I've come across. And then we're sitting here with absolutely everything, going, fuck, my life could be better. You
Can't
know,
get out of bed.
Can't get out of bed. You know, like, and one thing I've been working on of late, and just be grateful for what we do have than what we don't have. You know, like there's so many people worse off than us.
Yeah. I've said it a few times on here, man, because it's helped me a lot, man. Just that gratitude book.
Oh, massive.
You know, it turns into all the obvious, like I've got kids and, you know, I've got a good job or you know, all the obvious. But if you do it over time, man, and I actually limit mine down to like 3 and just really... what's the word? Like expand that, you know. So if it is, I'm happy to, you know, I'm thankful with being a father. Then I go, why? You know, and I just write all the little things and just.
You got to ask them questions. So no use just writing that, you know, one liner down. You got to deep down and unravel it. You know, find out why that is the way it is, and that's what Alan's beautiful at. He finds out why people are the way that they are, why they say the way that are, why they think the way they are. Like he goes at depth, like really deep, not just that surface level. You know, and that's important. You know,
David Goggins, you know, dig deeper. So he just says, dig deeper. Like, if you think you got to the end, you can go more, and you can go more. Like, go deeper and see what's really beneath where you are, why you're there, what brought you there, and how you're going to get out of there. You know, and this is the work we do. It just goes deep. You know, each layer. I remember beautiful mentor of mine, Tim Morrison, had a beautiful call with him today. Actually, he's the guy that introduced this work to me. He always used to say, every new level has a new devil. So it's like you think you've done the work and you pull off the gas and then something else comes up, you know. So like just remember, this is a continuous piece. We got to continue showing up, continue doing the reps. It's no different to the gym, right? Muscles grown through repetition. The mind is a muscle, the heart's a muscle. How do you think we teach them? We got to keep doing the reps, and when the body gets stagnant, mix it up, try something different. You know, if you do the same breathwork technique every single morning for the same duration of time, it's going to get to a point where it's not really doing much. Switch it up 5-10%, and then boom, whole new level.
Just adding to that, man, I mean, you said it before, just listen. I think having open conversations and listening already, I mean, every podcast, I get something more from it by just listening to you boys, and I'm off doing a whole new different thing, you know. And so I think and I guess that comes down to what we were talking about at the start, is just the community as well.
And I think starting off, you know, like we said at the beginning, you start doing this work, you're excited, you want to try everything. You know, when I first started, I was like, ice baths every day, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm going to this event, I'm going to this circle, you know, because you want to test it all out, you know. But then you refine that and you start connecting in with yourself and what actually works, and also what works for one period of growth is going to be completely different. So you can't just say, right, I'm going to do ice baths every day for the rest of my life because it works for me. Because eventually you either won't need it every day, or something will change and you might need the stillness of meditation more, or you might need to go to the gym and fucking get that aggression out, you know, whatever it is, but it's constantly changing. And when I used to work in mental health, a residential place, especially with young guys that would come in, they always had this impatientness that they're like, well, I've seen a psychologist for like a year and I've done this course and now I've stayed here and I've been in hospital and I just thought I would have been finished by now. And I was like, finished what? What are you talking about? Well, I've done this work, you know, like I thought the mental health stuff would be over, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, I said, this is life, mate. This is ongoing.
That's how we're programmed, though, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, you've done your apprenticeship, or you.
And that's the quickness. You know, that's the I want it done.
The dopamine addicts, you know, and
I went and saw the psychologist. I had 3 sessions, so I'm fixed.
I should be healed.
Yeah.
This work never stops.
No.
But why would you want it to stop?
And that's it. Like, you know, the only constant is change. We have to remember that. Life is changing every single day. Our whole body changes the cellular makeup every 7 years. So we are not the same person every 7 years. We're a completely different human being. And it's like, you got to also understand that growth and comfort do not coexist. They cannot inhabit the same space energetically, physically, mentally, whatever. In order to grow, you have to go through discomfort, because that's when things change on a cellular level, right? So if you can embrace the uncomfortable, your whole fucking life will change. You know, embrace the stuff that's a bit hard. Embrace the stuff that's new and it brings up that, oh, I don't know about this. Embrace that feeling of like, maybe someone will say something if I don't do this right, or what are they going to think of me? Like, embrace that, because that is fucking powerful, because that will lead you to that next evolution of who you are. And like, we say once again, society's made us fearful of change. You know, as soon as change comes around, like maybe it's a change in a politician or change in the starting lineup for the Eagles, like people are like, oh fuck, oh shit, like, oh no, things are changing, it's going to be tough. Yeah, it will, but it's going to get better. So like, embrace that change, embrace the suck, and just keep fucking going.
I've actually got my first radio interview tomorrow morning, and I'm nervous as fuck about it, you know. But it's like what I just keep saying to myself is going, this is where I want to be. So this uncomfortableness I need to lean into, because that's where I want to be. I want to.
How many times did you ask me to come on this? And I've gone, nah. And then I heard Ty and Ryan. I said, yeah, I'll come and sit with them too. Beautiful brothers. It was like, how many times did I put it off? I've been putting it off for months. And I don't even know if I was putting it off because of that, but I just, you know, maybe I was.
You were just waiting for us to.
I was just waiting for you.
How do you feel? How do you feel now, man, that you've done
I can't wait to do the next one. You know what I mean? I'm fucking keen. I don't want it to stop, bro. I'm just sitting around, just gaining the energy, just absorbing the beautifulness. But like, I know you brothers, and you know, I admire you and I love you. So it's a beautiful conversation. But
you get so much from it, man. I'm lucky as to be holding this position.
There's a lot of that.
There's no luck involved, brother. That's what you were here for, man. You're here for a reason, brother.
100% type worthiness.
And you deserve that, man. Embrace that. Embrace the discomfort that it took to get here. Because I guarantee you, it wasn't fucking easy, was it? And it probably won't be. But you keep showing up, man, and my hat goes off to you, bro.
Thanks,
like, you are really doing something with this community is needed for a long, long time.
How much sweeter will be the victory knowing that it was fucking hard. But you know, when you're at that, over that starting line, you know, like when you're, you know, there, like, fuck, man, I come from nothing. And, you know, a lot of us did, you know. Now, to sit here, 11 years ago, I moved over here with $500 in my bank and a backpack on my back. Now, to look here and to sit here, what I've created and what I'm worth, you know, just sit here and say, fuck, man, I am proud of the man I am. I come from nothing, but now look at him, you know. And that's what I'm going to embed into my little girls, bro.
That's it. And it's like, you know, who better to look at when you go home and look in the mirror than a fucking warrior, right? Do you want to look at a man who's like got his shoulders hunched over and he's all like cowardly and he's like, fuck, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do this? Or do you want to look at that guy and go, you did a fucking good job. I'm proud of you.
It does feel good, man.
That's what being a fucking warrior is, man. You know.
For sure.
I've been doing a lot of smile practice. So part of my morning routine is smile practice. So I wake up in the morning, driving to the work, like, and I never used to like looking at myself. I thought, you got to head for radio. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? I never thought highly of myself. I held myself with confidence, and, you know, I was a confident male only because I could look after myself, defend myself. You know, I didn't really give a fuck. I suppose, that's probably a lie. Everyone cares what they look like. Let's be honest. We train to look good naked. You know, to be that strong, masculine man. We do, you know what I mean? But to sit there and, okay, yeah, I've got a good body, but to sit there and actually look at yourself and smile at that motherfucker in the mirror, that man that you're looking at, and smile. Like, I went for a 70K bike ride the other day. The winds were like 45 kilometres an hour. It was hard, you know what I mean? But from this work that I've done and the smile practice I've done, I changed my whole mindset on this ride. Was like, I just started smiling to myself. I'm going, this ride's easy. And then as I've gotten more into the ride, when it was fucking hard going up past the left bank, just started smiling at myself. Oh, this ride's easy. And then I started to believe that this ride was easy. And my legs grew, my heart grew, my passion grew, my focus grew. I got home in the quickest time. I was sitting on 33 kilometres an hour for 70 Ks an hour.
Fuck yeah.
You know, fucking machine.
Beast.
You know, and that's just flipping that way that you perceive yourself or perceive the situation that you're in. You know, it's a powerful thing, and you know, mindset and belief in yourself, bro. We all deserve it.
So I'm gonna, on that note, I'm just gonna wind this up. But first of all, there's two things I want to end this with. One, I just want the opportunity, because we didn't introduce yourselves before. So just a little bit about yourselves. Like, I will have your details on my website. So anyone that is listening, want to get to know these boys more, or do something that was spoke about. And like we said, get a part of the community, because our phones are always on. So even if you're in a tough place, reach out to any one of us, like anyone on here. But also, Liam's gifted 2 stickers that he's already pasted on the wall. So we've got to reveal those.
Can you do the honours, please, Ryan? And what better man to do it? That one up there, Live Your Best Life.
Oh, nice.
So this is part of Live Your Best Life clothing. So these are part of the merch mirror stickers that I give out once I give out a shirt. And I've got a few gifts to give to Dave at the end as well. So I'll do this one. Oh, it's already come off, Dave.
Oh, look at that.
It's just not very good plugging.
That is looking good, brother.
That one.
Look at that. Live your best life.
Live your best life.
Just leave that on there.
I'll leave that on there, bro.
Or write it on with the gold pen afterwards, mate.
So it's like, you know, live, and this is what it all goes back to, like, you decide. Whatever the Live Your Best Life is for Ty, Rye, Dave or Liam, it could be completely different. But we all want to live our best life, and you get the chance every day to decide how you live that best life, whatever that means to you. So wake up and decide how the fuck you want to show up. It's powerful. It's got me out of my deepest, darkest depression. It's how I used to go. Like, I can either lay in this bed and feel sorry for myself, feel self-pity, not want to get up, cry myself to sleep, I'm not worthy. Motherfucker, you decide, get the fuck up, get on with it, take that next step, get out, put them socks on, go for that run. You never know what's going to come after that. This day might be shit, but tomorrow might be better. You know, and that's massive to me. So, yeah, before you close up, because I know you might want to close up, I'm going to gift the starting line to amend. One's a workshop program and one's a warrior program, bro. 2 of the most powerful things that I've ever been involved in, bro. And I know you've been involved in a workshop, but then it goes from the workshop, it goes into warrior program and then retreat. So it all just stems from this. This is the start of Amend. So myself and the Amend, bro, as a gift of our token of just the work that you're doing at the starting line and that, we want to gift you 2 of them tickets to give as a raffle away on Saturday.
Fuck yeah. Thanks, brother.
And also I had another...
What else you got?
I got some goodies, man. I've always been the man with goodies. I deliver. Also, Darren from Take Charge Wellbeing, he runs mental health first aid courses, and he's also gifted 5 free spots worth. You know, the money value is not a thing. It's worth a bit of money, but it's not the money that matters to us. It's about giving back to the community, helping men get involved in these programs. You know, mental health first aid training. But this helps us recognise the signs of men going through suicide, and you know, becoming a mental health first aider could be that point between having that right discussion or knowing that right thing, what that person's going through before he actually takes his life. So it's a powerful tool. I've done 2 of them.
We talk about that a lot on here, man, and that's you know, it's one to ask someone, are you going okay? And it's secondly, what the fucking say to next. Well, what to do.
100%, bro.
So that's
it's important, bro. So, yeah, Darren from, like I said, Take Charge Wellbeing, he's offered 5 free spots. And then once you get the hub, or once we get a venue early next year, he's going to come in and run these workshops for us free of charge, just as a token of appreciation of men doing the work and giving back to this beautiful community. So
awesome, bro.
Yeah, bro. I just wanted to gift you them, and they're yours to
I'll say thank you on behalf of the people that are going to receive this. The right people will receive see these.
And they always do, bro.
Yeah.
At workshops, when you give away gifts like this, the right people that need it at the right time always receive them. So blessings and welcome
brother.
to the people that receive them, bro.
That's kind of you, bro. Thank you very much.
Blessings all mine, my brother. And Darren's got them things too, but we'll discuss that on Saturday, how you raffle them off at the starting line.
Awesome, bro.
Raffle.
Awesome. You guys... Yeah.
Well,
Is there anything we missed out, man? Like that sort of like in your line of work?
yeah,
Or, you know, like,
big thing for me personally and I guess professionally is launching my own program. It actually launches on Friday. So it's the Empowered Man Reclaiming Program, 12-week open container for men. Already got some brothers lining up, and it's going to be sort of when it launches on Friday, it's going to be some discounts there for about 5 days after it launches. So guys can jump in, you know, because it's at the start. It's going to be heavily discounted, but heaps and heaps of value, all built from my experience and what I want guys to experience. You know, what we've been talking about. You know, you've got to live your best life, and you've got to take responsibility for that. So I've done this work myself with other people, and I've had mentors myself that I've invested in. When you start investing in yourself, like that's a big thing in itself. You know, that changes you, because that's saying that you're worthy. That's like, you know, we can think of all the excuses. Oh, well, I don't have $5,000, or I don't have this amount of money to go on this retreat, or, oh, that's a bit much, but you'll go out and buy new sneakers, or, you know, buy cartons of piss or whatever, you know. So it's about, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like? So I'm really excited about it. I'm really pumped to be stepping into the coaching space and the leadership space.
well done too, man. Congratulations
congrats,
on
brother.
making that, well,
So
going to the next level with it as well, yeah.
That's just on my socials, so that'll be on your thing. People can check it out.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, and myself, like most people know me, I'm here, there, and everywhere, so I won't take too long. But
You always pop up everywhere, don't you?
yeah, I'm kind of like a weasel that just pops up out of the ground.
Celebrity on here, man.
Good looking weasel. I love when you pop up.
The sexy weasel that loves everyone. Yeah, I'm all about community, and I'm just here to continue to help strengthen the community, you know, from the heart. And got some epic stuff coming up next year. I'll be launching my own personal programs in January as well. A lot of mental and physical resilience training, human optimization. So that's going to be really cool. We've got some epic people on board to bring some really powerful stuff to the men that need it. And Brotherhood Awakening, Sacred Sons, community host next year for Sacred Sons Australia. Expansion's coming. And yeah, lots of men's talk stuff. Men's talk has been beautiful for me, and it's kind of what brought us all here together was men's talk. So yeah, just before we close, I'd love to send a quick shout out to Brother Paul, the creator of Men's Talk. He's doing some amazing things in the community, and yeah, the links will be on the potty. And yeah, give us all a follow, and we'll see you in the space soon.
Yeah, I'll leave it with the events I've been to and meeting all of you. You bring so much energy to these events, and fucking yeah, I just want to leave it there. So it's been an absolute privilege having you guys on here, and sharing what you guys have shared. And I know that it's always hard to close off the space for, you know, these podcasts, because we've only really scratched the surface, like it is with everyone. But you know, I don't even need to encourage you guys to keep doing what you're doing.
One.
Yeah.
Episode 1 will be back.
And just remember, man, these doors are always open.
Yeah.
I've been gifted to have this space and everything, man, and it's part of my journey is to have these doors open, have these open conversations and all that, man. So
thank you, brother. Like, thank you for allowing us to be here as men and share our stories, help other men that are listening, and, you know, help each other along the way. You know, I think it's so important, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful space that you've created. So on the behalf of myself, and I'm sure these beautiful brothers, thank you.
Thanks, boys.
And to acknowledge all those that work hard behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Cheer, my brother.
All right, boys. Till next time.
Peace.
Much love.